We are now ready to start applying our paddock records. There are two main things worth noting here. Firstly, the full range of paddock records is only available on our performance plan. So if you are currently running on Essentials, you will need to upgrade by going to Account and then Plan and Billing on the AgriWebb web portal. Once you've upgraded, you'll then be able to access the full range of paddock records, so you can start monitoring and tracking insights on the arable side of your business. Secondly, paddock records can only be created on the mobile app. This means you can quickly record your arable records from wherever you are, even the comfort of your tractor cab as soon as you finish the job, without needing to go back into the office and record this later on. So now I'm going to show you how to apply a paddock record to a field. I'll use the sowing record in this example, but all paddock records roughly follow the same structure, allowing you to input the details of what has happened, when it took place, who carried out the work, and how much it cost. All of this information will then be available to analyze on the reports later on. Now we can select which field we want to apply the record to, and this is as simple as just tapping on the desired field on the farm map screen on our mobile app. So I'm just going to zoom in and tap on the long field here on the right hand side. This will then bring up the paddock details in front of us. And as you can see in the bottom right hand corner of this pop-up, there is the paddock record option with the little gate symbol. If you tap this, it'll then bring up the different options of the paddock records that we can apply. So we've got our sowing records. So obviously for when you've drilled the field with any crop, you can apply a sowing record to it to input that information. We've got harvest records for the harvesting of any crops. This can be used as well for your silage and hay cutting, which is quite useful. We've got cultivation. In the middle row, we've got our grazing records, which we won't focus on in this course. And at the bottom, we have our paddock treatment, so our sprays or fertilizer. In this example, I'm just going to choose the sow record. So I'm going to tap that, and it'll bring us into the record page where we can first edit the area that we have just sown. So by default, it'll be set to the whole field, but if you just split it into halves, done half the field, you can alter that there. You can also, in the top right, where it says add paddocks, add in another field to the record. So if you'd sown the same crop in multiple fields, you can do it all within one record instead of having to go through each field and create that record separately. You can also then remove them if needs be on the right hand side here. So now I'm just going to tap next at the bottom of the screen, and we come on to the sowing details. So here we can change the date sown to any point in the past. I'm going to backdate this by a couple of days. We can choose whether this was carried out by a contractor or an operator. I'm going to leave this as contractor in this example. You can then put in a contractor name. You can put in the contractor rate, how much he was charging. It'll then summarize a cost, and you can put in any notes at the bottom there. I'm then going to tap next at the bottom of the screen again. And now we'll be able to add our seeds to this record. So I'm going to tap add seeds. I'm going to choose the crop that we want to plant. We can now input our seeding rate and a cost per kilogram for the seed. You can also add multiple seeds to one record, again with the add seeds button in the top right hand corner there. If I was to tap this and add in a different variety of barley, let's say, you can build up a list of multiple seeds. If you were doing a mixed crop or some kind of herbal layer, you can combine as many seeds as you want into one record to save having to do this all separately. In this case, I'm just going to remove that and leave it as the single variety there. So now we've input that information quickly and easily. I'm going to tap the save button in the bottom right. And the record has now been created. If you wanted to view that record again, you can just tap on the history tab in the top right here, and you'll be able to see that in the paddock history, the details of the sowing record there. If you wanted to edit or delete this record after it's been created, all you'd need to do would be to tap on this in the paddock history, then you will have the options at the bottom here to edit, duplicate, add a note, or simply just delete the record.